This Hangout on Air is now live. Hi, thank you so much for joining me here on YouTube. Welcome to Kick-Ass Switch, putting the K in magic. I'm Joanna DeVoe, and you are watching a video about the sacred bitch. And more specifically than that, Medusa as an archetype of empowerment. I'm going to see if this is rolling because I don't trust these things yet. They make me very nervous. I feel very, oh, there I am. Okay, I don't want to look at myself, but I'm glad I'm there. Let's see. Nobody is here yet. One person is watching now. Hello, one person. Oh, it's Dawn. Hi. Are you texting me right now? Because my phone is going off in the bathroom. I can hear it going ding, ding. Is that you, Dawn, texting me? Yay, Adana knows it all. You do? You know it all? I don't know it all today. Just let me tell you that. I am not an expert on Medusa's mythology, although I love to learn about Medusa. So if anybody here wants to share anything about Medusa, you go right ahead. Don't ask me too many questions about her mythology because you might stump me. You can stump me. I don't care. You can stump me live here. It's okay. But I will tell you my personal interpretation of Medusa and why I work with her as an archetype. And while we wait for people to get here, I'm just going to chit chat. Although I see quite a few of you are rolling in here. Random Witch, hello. Molly Roberts, yes, bitches. I get to see Molly in August. She's coming to LA, so you can all officially be jealous about that right now. Hi, Renee. Okay, let me get off of this because I'll just sit here chatting with you all and I won't get to the point. What is the point? Let me say, too, that I'm literally just wearing this lipstick for you all. I never, ever wear this out and about, but every time I put it on, it's when I do a video with this lipstick, it's usually to be silly. It was like for the glamour video that I did, how to cast a glamour, and I was making fun of myself as the angry witch, so I thought this was very appropriate. And then I think I wore it once for like a Halloween shadow work video that I did, but every single time I do, everybody's like, we love the lipstick. So I'm wearing it for you. I cannot wander around with this lipstick on, but if you're curious, it is by e.l.f. It's super affordable and it is blackberry and it smells like chocolate. So I will be wiping this off my face as soon as this video is done, but I'm wearing it for you. And I'm wearing my Slytherin tank top, which I wear all the time. And I get lots of high fives when I wear this out and about. Here, let me see. I don't know if you can see it, and I'm sitting on the floor, so you'll just have to trust me on that. It says Slytherin, ambitious, and shrewd. And I somehow, in my mind, it probably makes sense to you too, I equate Slytherin with Medusa and Lilith and all of the disenfranchised women that are, and dark goddesses that are connected to snakes and the wisdom of snakes. And I think it's appropriate that the Slytherin house in Hogwarts, for you Harry Potter nerds, is vilified, right? And some villains come out of the Slytherin house. And I like to justify, I think, the things I like is why I get into all of this, truth be told. But I have always identified with the Slytherin house, and that is why I bought this tank top last year, and I've worn it around proudly. And then Pottermore has this really fun feature on the Pottermore website where you can find out, you answer some questions, and you find out what house you're in, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to be pissed if I'm not a Slytherin. So I did it recently, like in the last month. And I was like, please, please, please don't put me in one of the nice houses. And come to find out, I'm in Gryffindor. And you all need to tell me if I get lipstick on my teeth, which is one of the main reasons I don't like wearing this lipstick in real life. But I think the reason that a lot of villains come out of the Slytherin house to analyze this fictional world is because of that old statement of witches who cannot hex, cannot heal. And so that's like being a witch is a power. It's a double-edged sword, right? It can hex or it can heal. And so when you embrace that power, it really brings out like who you really are at heart. Just like any human person, witches and wizards and Harry Potter aside, when people attain power or a lot of money, you really get to see who they are at heart. So I think the Slytherin house is very cool because it reveals who you are deep down inside when you get a little bit of power like that. So that's why I like that. And I also want to say that the thumbnail that I was posting on Twitter and Facebook just now to promote this, I had a lot of fun. I just picked an old picture of myself and I was like putting green splotches on my face to try to make myself look like Medusa. It doesn't look that cool. It doesn't look that Medusa-ish, but I think it's fun. So I did it anyway. But while I was doing that, I was thinking about how witches are often depicted as being green, as having green skin. And again, I equate that with this idea of, well, people fear witches, obviously. They're one of the reasons I love to call myself a witch is because witches have been vilified throughout history. And more often than not, maybe in all cases up until recent history, nobody was running around calling themselves a witch. It was an accusation. But they had some power, be it beauty, or land that somebody wanted from them, or some sort of social standing, or maybe they were a healer. People would come after them as witches because that was a disempowering thing to do, and you would literally lose your life perhaps if someone called you a witch. But again, it's that to hex or heal thing, right? And just the nature of power really interests me. But I was thinking too about how Medusa is equated with snakes and how witches are often equated with snakes. I'm all decked out for you today. And I'm gonna look and see if you guys are talking to me or if you're here still, since I'm just rambling before I get to some Z Budapest, Hufflepuff girl here. Why Z Budapest? I think I missed something in the conversation. Was Z Budapest texting me? I don't know. Hufflepuff, hi Hufflepuff. Okay, so I also busted out, oh no, I put a lamp on her. That's terrible. So sorry, Medusa. Sorry guys, I'm flipping back and forth between Google Chrome and Safari. So that's what the long pauses are about here. Okay, so this is by the artist Jasmine, is it Jasmine Beckett? I just know her as Strangeling because her brand is Strangeling. And I love her illustrations, but this is a Medusa that I bought for my wall that I have never hung. Not that I won't ever, but I love her because she's cute. I really love pop art. If you've noticed, my illustrations are very pop artish and very like girly. But if you have, I did a coloring book called Will Work for Food, a coloring book for grown-ups. I think that was in 2006. And it's deceptive, right? It's very cute. The illustrations are very, very basic. I like that really flat, black and white, like fundamental tattoo style. But then it has like this darkness within and like these angry messages and stuff. And a lot of pop art does. It looks very cute. It's very cute and inviting on the surface, but then there are these darker messages within. And I feel like this is like that. The reason I haven't hung her is because she is sad. And I am a superstitious law of attraction practitioner, and I don't want an image staring at me that looks sad. This is my journal, one of my journals. I use this as a dream journal, actually. But I love this depiction of Medusa because she is looking very much like a queen or a high priestess. And she originally was a priestess, according to some versions of the story. So I love that. And then a lot of depictions of her have her looking very rageful or very scary or both. Hopefully when you're full of rage, you want to look scary, right? That's kind of the goal. I think the rage is scary. And she justifiably has a lot of it. So let me get into my own personal reasons for Medusa being an archetype I work with and why. First of all, I cannot separate her from Athena. Athena is what brought me to Medusa, and Medusa is what brought me to Athena. They like came to me hand in hand. I work with Athena primarily as, you might call her my patron goddess. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't see it that way. I see it as an archetype that I work with and have for a long time very successfully. And, but what really got me into her mythology was the story of her and Medusa. And I did not like the way it was portrayed. I've told this before, and there's a part of me that just wants to skip over all of this and just give you the Cliff Notes version, but I'm gonna assume that you have never heard me talk about this before, and I will tell it to you from the beginning. So I used to always say I'm not a goddessy witch, but all of my friends were, and they all had these goddesses. And one day I was driving down the road and I just sort of like gave a shout out to the universe and just asked like, hey, is there any goddess out there that wants to work with me? You know, anyone? And moments later, it felt like seconds later, I got stopped in traffic and I pulled up behind a giant Athena water truck, and Athena was spelled out in front of me in like really sparkly letters that like shone and moved in the light. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then when I was passing the water truck, they were even bigger and more sparkly, like huge, splashed across the side of the truck. It said Athena. And I was like, huh, Athena. I had never given any thought to Athena before this at all. And then I like turned to the corner and ended up face to face with, I can't remember if it was a retirement home or some kind of medical facility, but it said Athena. That was like the name of it across the top. I was like, okay, third time's the charm. I'm just going to go with it. Athena is trying to get my attention. So I was reading about Athena online. I was not loving the mythologies associated with her because she was very much portrayed as a bitch who betrays other women. And that really offended me. And there is a book, I feel like it's called The Goddess in Every Woman, something like that. It's a very popular book. And you can read part of it for free online. And I was reading the Athena portion. And it just, that is the moment that I became like a real Athena witch because I was so pissed. This author is a woman. This author is about empowering other women. When you go through, she breaks down several goddesses in this book and talks about like, you know, these archetypes as being presented in women, and some women are more Aphrodite and some women are more Athena, but it is very unbalanced. She presents the light and the shadow of each of these goddesses, but I really felt that the emphasis was on the shadow with Athena, and it was almost irredeemable as a lot of the representations of her mythology are. So I got pissed. I was so mad. And Dawn, if you're here, Dawn of the Goddess Diaries, I wrote a piece for her blog called In Defense of Athena, in which I kind of retold the Medusa Athena story from my perspective and how I see it. And if you don't know that story, I will give it to you short here very quickly. Medusa was a very beautiful young maiden who became a priestess of Athena, and which is a sacrifice, right? Because instead of using her beauty as a kind of power, she was really kind of sacrificing her beauty, that like fleeting moment of power that young women have to work in Athena's, to be a devotee of Athena and to be a priestess in her temple. And Athena and Poseidon have this sort of rivalry, like when you go back through the mythology. Like Athena is the patron of Greece, but there was a contest between her and Poseidon to see who would the patron be, and Athena gifted Greece with olive trees, and Poseidon gifted Greece with horses, and they decided that olive trees were more valuable even than horses, which were very valuable back in the day, because of all the things that the olive tree gives. It gives and gives and gives, and so much of their culture is really, it revolves around the olive trees. So Athena won that one. But Poseidon wanted this beautiful maiden, Medusa, for himself. And so he raped her on the floor of Athena's temple. Some people say this is just weird to me that he seduced her. To me, and again, this is just personal to me, I don't even see how that's possible. Like if she was as beautiful as they say, she must have had all the gods after her and all the men, and willingly sacrificed that power to be in service of Athena. The stories of her being raped are almost more offensive, not just because she was raped, but because then the story goes that Athena punished her for being raped, and punished her by giving her the head of a gorgon. So snakes for hair, this terrifying stare. If anybody looks her in the eye, they turn to stone. Like that was supposed to be her punishment. And I was just like, that's just not how it went. I know that's not how it went. No, that is so wrong. That is so wrong. A goddess would not behave that way. Not that goddesses don't have their light and dark side, but in particular to like a priestess of her own temple. Like, I just don't buy it. So I really saw this as, if you look at a statue of Athena, most representations of Athena, she wears Medusa on her breastplate. She also usually has snakes like on her arms, and her shield has Medusa's head on it. And to me, that signifies that she's embracing the energy of Medusa, and she's using that energy to protect, you know, the most sacred, delicate, but strong part of herself, representing all women, right? And I feel that she turned Medusa into a gorgon to make her wise, to make her invincible against attacks that would like violate her personally. I keep getting kind of paranoid. Are they still there? Are they still there? Let's see. And are you with me? Are you following me? Okay. Yay. Slytherin. My name was almost Athena. Hey, Stephanie. That's cool. Maybe that can be like your secret power name. Hi, random witch. Okay, so moving on. Thanks for letting me check in here, guys. It helps me like carry on with my story here. Okay, so I believe that she gave her this power stare that turns men into stone in order to protect her, so that men cannot violate her anymore that way. And the snake represents wisdom. Her hair is filled with snakes. It's a warning to would-be attackers, and it's a sign of wisdom. She moves from the innocence of a maiden, as we all do, into the wisdom of a more experienced woman and a real priestess, a woman who has been through the trials of fire and come out the other end and is able to protect herself finally, because it's a weird trade-off, right? The beauty of innocence, the beauty of naivete, even the beauty of a young, untouched maiden who does not know what this world has in store for her. Our society really puts that up on a pedestal, right? And so many women they undermine their own power by trying to get back to that, trying to get back to that, when they don't realize a swap has occurred. And as you get older, as you get more experience, there's a different beauty in that. And it's the beauty of being sovereign, being a sovereign queen, being the ruler of your own life, and saying, no, you shall not pass unless I say it's okay. And to me, that is what Medusa represents. I think she has a lot to do with sisterhood as well. As I just said, this is, I guess, kind of an inversion of the Athena myth as it's often represented, because it's not just the Medusa story, it's other stories too that have her betraying other women. And I see her as more of a protectress, and that invoking her name is like invoking your own wisdom and the sword of truth and being able to cut through the bullshit, right? And then you have the added benefit of having Medusa so that you can stand up for yourself, and together they make like one kick-ass warrior. Because Athena is very like mind, you know, she really rules the mind and that is an air sign. And then Medusa is very much like, rawr! In fact, I saw a video once where I think it was a man talking. He traced the etymology of Medusa back to just like a guttural growl, a sound. And I thought that was so perfect, you know, because like women's empowerment is so much about that, like, roar! Roar! And there's a lot of interesting astrology to do with this as well. Medusa is represented in the head of Perseus, who slayed, which is a constellation. He's the one that finally slayed her using a mirror. He like sneaks up on her with a mirror, because if you don't look directly in her eyes, you can't turn to stone. And I think that's very telling too. It's like when you look someone in their eyes, your eyes are the window to your soul. And it's a lot harder to perpetrate a crime on someone once you've connected with them that way, right? And so I think it's interesting that he had to sneak up on her like a total, you know, I don't want to say, I was going to say maybe an offensive word, like a coward. He had to sneak up on her like a coward with a mirror, so that he would just see like the reflection of her and not have to look directly in her eyes. And that's how he killed her. In his constellation, there is a star called Algol that is considered, it's basically her third eye, because it's in the center of her severed head, which is what he did when he killed her. He beheaded her. And it's known, I think, as the demon star, and it scared people because it appears to like blink in the sky like this, right? And I think it's very interesting because that has a kind of like death and rebirth quality that snakes have, and that witches are all into, right? We're all into this whole life, death, life cycle. And every dark moon, which we're just entering in right now, as a matter of fact, is, you know, we release that which no longer serves. We let die that which no longer serves, so that we can, in effect, be reborn again. Again, I think why witches work so much with snakes is the shedding of the skin. And snakes throughout history have been associated with this rebirth. I think that's why women, like the scary parts of women, dark goddesses, the things that men fear about women are often represented in snakes, going all the way back to the Garden of Eden with Eve and all of that stuff. But then too, this demon star that like blinks in the sky, it's like, it's gone. Where did it go? It died. No, hello, it's back again. It's gone. Where did it go? No, it died. No, it's back again. So I see a lot of imagery of death and rebirth, including in Medusa's story, right? She dies to, her innocence dies so that she can give birth to this more empowered and empowering, for people like me, part of herself. So that is how I see Medusa. That is it in a nutshell. I've been talking about, I linked down below to a blog post I did in 2014. I was talking a lot about the sacred bitch in 2014. And in that blog post, it also links to a podcast I did on the sacred bitch. And this year I'm thinking about it a lot again, because I am creating an audio program called Queen, all caps. I'm so excited about this. I will let you know as soon as it's ready. It will be coming out very, very soon. But a big part of being a queen is embracing the sacred bitch. And her power word is no. It's like holding up the shield with Medusa's face on it. Anytime someone wants to violate you in some way, or cross your boundaries, or push past your boundaries. And speaking of podcasts, I just did a podcast on Tuesday where I was, what is it called? It made me laugh. It was very fun to do this. The joy of being a selfish fucking bitch. That was a lot of fun. So to me, like, this all goes together, which, speaking of fun, the theme for July here is supposed to be fun. So it kind of surprised me that I decided to squeeze Medusa in here. But I had posted on Facebook, like, what do y'all want me to talk about this summer? And quite a few of you chimed in on this Medusa thread and said, yeah, talk about her. So there was no other good place to stick her other than in this month of fun. And I think that that's significant too, because I think as we grow up and we become older, we really lose our joy and we really lose our sense of fun. And I think that has so much to do with feeling like just another cog in the wheel, or feeling like a victim, and not feeling our own power, and not understanding how to embrace our own freedom, not being able to use the word no, not being able to set healthy boundaries. If you can't set healthy boundaries, especially in today's age, like with all of the texting and internet coming at you and all of these marketers, they want you to buy their stuff. They want to give you something for free, and everybody can get a hold of you anytime they want. If you can't put up healthy boundaries, you are a slave. You're a slave to other people's whims. You're a slave to the system, and that is no fun. That is no fun. Without freedom, it's very difficult to have fun, right? You're at the mercy of other people to supply it for you. So that's how I feel about it. Not that I have any strong opinions or anything. Okay, so I'm going to scroll through your comments. They're going fast, so I don't know how to do this, but I will try. Okay. Proud Slytherin! Woo! Random witch. I get a kick out of, I know I've been called a fluffy bunny before. I almost wore my fluffy bunny t-shirt today. It was a toss-up between Slytherin and fluffy bunny, and I had to go for Slytherin. But I have a Libra personality. I'm very like, woo! So I think it surprises people when they get to know me better and that dark side is there. Or if you've been listening probably to my podcast for a while, you probably already know it's there too. But it's kind of like the pop art that I was talking about. It's like very cute and very fun until it's not. It like comes with a message. And I think I gravitate toward words like witch or the Slytherin house and things like that, because I have my dark side. I do. And speaking of being a Libra too, I equate that with Athena, because Libra is like the sign of the scales. It's the sign of justice. And for me, this comes right back to the Medusa myth and what connected me with Athena in the first place. Like, what is a greater sense of justice than empowering this other woman that way? And again, like, I didn't really elaborate on this, but like the sisterhood. It's, you know what's interesting? A lot of women that give up their power, I guess I'm just talking to women today. Sorry if any men are listening. I'm on a roll. I think it's because I'm putting the queen material together and I'm thinking a lot about women right now. But what's interesting is women that really give up their power, which is many, 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 many women. And they get into this like damsel in distress mentality where like the knight on the white horse has to ride in and save them. They will marry men that they don't love, that are financially secure. Women have very much been pitted against each other and taught from a very early age, programmed from a very early age to treat each other as enemies, you know, and it's this weird, like, sociological poverty mentality of like, there's not enough men to go around. We want the bravest, we want the strongest, we want the one that has, you know, that's the most financially stable and the one that can make the babies. And we give our power away to men, and the patriarchy teaches us to do this. But what's interesting, like all throughout history, the real champion of women as a whole, I'm talking about people who defend women as a whole, people who stand up for women as a whole, those movements have always been led by women. And women not only do that for women, they do it for children, they do it for men, they do it for special needs people, people with disabilities. Like, women are the champions of the world, and we are far more powerful when we stand together. And that is, again, why Athena and Medusa go together in my mind. I get very preachy when I talk about this. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I said I was going to read your comments. It's her quote. Z Budapest is who said, a witch who cannot hex cannot heal. Thank you, Dawn. Okay, cool. Hi from Denmark. Hi from Los Angeles, Denmark. Hi. Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody. Lots of highs. Chandrika. Chandrika Nyoka. I could say that all day long. That sounds like a magical spell in and of itself. I don't know why I'm scared to work with deities. I don't know. That's interesting, though. That's definitely something to think about. I don't think I was scared. I think I just didn't believe in God as a personified deity. It was like an old man in the sky who was judging everybody. And so I had rejected that. So when I came around to witchcraft, I was like, if I don't believe in a god, I can't believe in a goddess. And I didn't understand why everybody else was doing that. It was only through working with like them as archetypes, because I am a Libra and I'm very like intellectual and up in my head, and archetype makes sense, right? Because an archetype is like, it's an idea. It has energy invested in it because all of the other people that have invested in that idea and built on that energy and that mythology. But that might be an interesting place to start, is just to be like, okay, I'm just working with archetypes and no like supernatural being is going to be coming down, you know, through the ceiling to get me. That might be an interesting place to start. Just saying. But interesting synchronicities do start popping up once you work with an archetype like that, even if you don't believe in personified deity, even if you don't believe that they are their own like sentient sovereign beings, some strange magic happens and you do kind of get this back and forth dialogue going if you're open to the guidance and you're paying attention. Like, very interesting synchronicities start showing up, just like how I found Athena, when I literally just was like, hey, who's my goddess? And then like, boom, right in front of me was Athena. And then shortly thereafter, I like so dialed into that story and connected with it. So it's an interesting journey, that's for sure. My feet are falling asleep and the gardeners just began and they get really loud. So I'm gonna try to hurry through this here. Working with deity can change your entire life. Yeah, yes. I will totally second that. Working with deity can change your entire life. Read The Creation of Patriarchy by Gerda Lerner. It shows a bit of how we went from being equal to being under men. Very cool. I also recommend looking up Dr. Cat. Does she just spell it like woman? Dr. Cat Woman here on YouTube. She does these lectures and they're mind-blowing. They're mind-blowing. And it talks about, she talks a lot about spiritual abuse. You might have heard me talk about this already, but I will just repeat it for people who are new here. She talks about how there are 3 levels to spiritual abuse. One is mental, one is physical, and one is spiritual. And the first thing you do is you take away their gods, you take away their goddesses, and you break them spiritually that way. You take away their higher power, right? And whole cultures have been destroyed this way. So I think that's very interesting too. Thank you for the book recommendation, by the way. My interpretation of the myth, Oh, I just lost it. Dang it. Oh no, that was going to be interesting. I could tell. This is tricky. Okay, this is Adana Knows It All. My interpretation of the myth was that Medusa was able to see into the soul and know one's true intentions. That is cool. I definitely love that. Turning people to stone was a metaphor. It's getting loud. Turning people to stone was a metaphor for being paralyzed with fear. Fear was the reason she was destroyed. Totally. I'm feeling you right now. I totally am with you. Love it. Lobby. All the sacred bitch content. Thank you, Haley. Yes, I love talking about the sacred bitch. I can't wait to do the queen thing. Stay tuned for that, you guys, because I will definitely, I'll probably do like a free video series, but trying to escort you into this program because I think it's going to be life-changing stuff. It has been for me. I worked with Queen as an archetype last year. That was my my icon of the year. I don't really know what to call it. It was my word of the year, but it was so much more because it was an archetype, and learning to step into the Queen. I can't stop talking about it and thinking about it, even though 2016 was the year of the Queen. I think it changed me forever. Just as someone was saying here about working with deity changes you forever, working with the Queen archetype changed me forever. I can feel myself, I can see myself getting shiny. I can see my own nose and my own cheeks. It's very hot in here. Oh, you're welcome, Chandrika. I hope I'm saying your name right. That's very cool. You say no by not picking up the phone or answering messages. That's one way of asserting yourself. It is. But then if they keep calling, keep saying, sending you messages, I would say that's kind of the ghosting version of it, but that there's something empowering to literally saying like no. And you can say it in friendly ways. You don't have to like scream it in their face. In fact, I think being very centered and grounded when you do stand up for yourself is much more empowering than coming at it from like, the position of being pissed. In the moment, if you're feeling the rage and somebody's coming at you, of course, use that energy. But if you do have a second to gather yourself and really get clear on your thoughts, maybe call in Athena for that and like the sword of truth and get that like clarity, the words come out much more directly and specifically and more true to your heart, I think. Sacred bitch. I know, Erin, I agree. She says, I totally would buy a bunch of sacred bitch t-shirts or totes. I need to get on that. I need to get on that because it's so good. It's so good. Is it a doctor or doc? I think it's DR. I think, Stephanie. Yay, thank you. Thank you for saying I'm awesome. And then all of the fire, and hearts. That's awesome. Yes, so stoked for the Queen content. Keep it up, lady, you rock. I love it. Cannot wait for Queen goodies. I can't wait either. I literally cannot wait. I'm trying to get it done. It all kind of came through, like just all these ideas. It felt like I was channeling like the energy of the Queen, because to me, the best projects are like this. Like both of my ebooks were like this, where it was just like, I could not write it fast enough. And it was kind of like all these scattered notes. It's like this, yes, and da-da-da-da-da, and this, and da-da-da-da-da. So now I'm like bringing all these, like, they're more than notes. They're like epic paragraphs and pages and pages and pages. And it's all very coherent. So I don't love making videos. It's more of an effort for me. So I decided to do it on audio, and more, like so many more people, like depending on the week, like 6 to 8 times more people listen to the podcast than watch my videos. It's significant. So I'm also taking that as a sign. And I think it's just about convenience. I think people, audio is portable, right? You can do it while you're cleaning your house. You can do it while you're working out or driving in your car. So I think people are just kind of going that way naturally. So I'm going to go with them. I'm scared after looking up Doctor and Dr. Catwoman. Don't do it. Oh no. See, just saying that now everybody's going to go run it and do it. I am going to have to run too, guys. My feet are so asleep and my son's coming home and I'm sweating. You said it right. My name is Sanskrit. I don't know what the 5 is, but that's cool. Oops, just Sanskrit. Okay. My year of the Queen has been 2017. Yeah. I recommend having a year of the Queen and then having a life of the Queen after that. Book recommendations on working with goddess archetypes. I'm pretty sure Dawn Champagne would have a lot of book recommendations for you. She's definitely the goddess lady. Her website is the Goddess Diaries. I love to binge listen to you, Molly. I'm a binge listener. Like when I first find someone, especially, like I want to listen to all the things, you know. So I'm going to split. I'm sweating. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really enjoyed talking to you today. And until we meet again, everybody, it might take me a second to get out of here because I still don't really know what I'm doing. But thank you guys. Thank you. Much love to you. Peace. Sacred bitch. Sacred bitch. Call her in.